Hello, everyone, and welcome to Connections for Life. I am tpeet.
Cuvo. You gotta say I'm better at it. Come on, I'm
quitting. I'm quitting. Joe Serrett. We just found out, everybody, just so you know, that this is Chad's thing.
Yeah,
we were trying to record, and he wasn't on this.
3 weeks.
We were trying to record, and he wasn't on the screen, and we were like, "Wait, where are you?" And he's
"What
like,
are you doing?
This is my thing." And we were like,
"I guess I'll send you an email."
It's been a thing. It's been a thing. I'm like, yeah, all right, you know.
And it is now.
All right. Oh, look at us. Yes.
I love you, Chad.
Hey, are you froze, Chad? No?
No.
All right,
No.
good. No. All right, so welcome to this week's episode. We got a really cool episode here for you. First things first, though, we're going to get into a little UPSCO update. So, Joe, what are we looking at here, bud?
Well, yeah, like we talked about, I think last show, we're not going to be doing the UPSCO employee profile, whatever it's called, review. We're going to do that.
Profile.
Is that what it's called? I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to separate them. So we're going to actually have Adrian from our purchasing group on today. We'll be posting that separate than this. So we're going to kind of change it to shorten these shows. Oh, next week. I'm sorry.
It'll come out next week.
Okay. So anyways, so just that, as far as we go, things are again status quo. You know, the world's kind of starting to slowly open up. We're starting to see a little bit more movement. Still, all of us are clearly still in our offices. There's not much customer interaction. You know,
I got to see one today. It was great. And yesterday. Amazing.
So that's hope, right? So that's things that a month ago we absolutely weren't doing, and we're starting to see some movement and change there. So we're just hopeful that maybe we start to continue that trend, and we can get back to what we're used to. But until then, here we are, right? So as far as UPSCO, we're good, moving along. Everything's.
I'm going to do a little product showcase here.
Well,
if you guys see me moving this around, this is the UPSCO post squeeze tape. I believe Chad has a roll of it on his desk behind him.
Just a label.
Chad, do you have a roll of the post squeeze tape?
He has it sitting on.
I have three.
What is that used for, Ted? Since we're doing a little bit of an impromptu product showcase.
Squeezed off, applied. So once you've squeezed a pipe, you wrap this on it so that it cannot be squeezed in the same spot again.
Well, it identifies that you shouldn't squeeze.
You squeezed it, yeah.
Yes. So
yeah.
Other than that, no. Just a little. I didn't have an UPSCO shirt on today, so I wanted to make my own.
I do. Look, I classed myself up, guys.
You did. You look good.
Thanks,
Chad's still doing the T-shirt look, but he went to UPSCO for the T-shirt, so that's it. That's an upgrade.
Good to see you guys. I feel like we haven't done this in a while. I don't know why. It's weird. So
I don't feel like that at all. I talked to you.
I saw you 10 minutes ago. Yeah.
I meant not what I meant. You guys.
All right. So without further ado, we're going to get into our guest here today. It is Mike Willmore. Mike is a retired Washington Gas employee, but he really is so much more than that. He has spent 38 years in the oil and gas industry overall. His interview is super, super exciting because he's just, to hear the history and hear the stories that he has coming.
He's an open book.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Which is fun. It's a different perspective.
He had 3 separate careers.
Yeah.
So.
Right. And Mike, for those of you who don't know, not to alienate Ted, but Mike
every week
Chad,
he says not to alienate you, Ted, but we're going to alienate you.
He also
know
says
anybody.
love you, though. He also says love you.
He does say love you.
At least I don't say without further ado 900 times.
Welcome to UPSCO's Connections for Life.
Anyways, but Mike's an awesome guy. I got to know Mike when I first started and became a friend. Mike is just somebody that's always been a really trusted, respected resource for me, and somebody that's always been, and I think on the show I even referred to it as fair. He's just always been a fair guy, and it stinks to see him go, but we understand, and he's left a mark on his career and on the people that he worked with, and obviously us. So we're just as Ted said, we're happy to have Mike on, and that he agreed to come on the show. He's got bigger fish to fry now that he's kind of got himself cut loose from work, but
golf, reading, gardening, travel, and the St. Louis Cardinals, to be specific. So.
Right. So let's get him on.
Without further ado, Mike Willmore. Hello, Mike, and welcome to Connections for Life, my friend. It is good to see you, and thank you for joining us here.
Hey, Mike.
Hi, Ted. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Mikey.
Awesome to see you.
You look great, buddy.
Well,
You actually look like you got some sleep and some rest. You look great. I'm proud of you.
Like a glowing retiree.
Yeah.
Mike,
that's what it does to you.
we could probably make Mike Willmore's interview probably the longest interview we've ever had. But we're gonna try to keep that down. Mike, we'll get right into the questions. I know that we, for everybody, and just so that you know, we talk about who you are and all of your things prior to this, so we'll catch everybody up in that part. But I guess for your entire time, you've been in the gas industry a long time. How did you get into it, and how did you get your foot in the door into this crazy world?
So, great. 1981, I really got into the gas and oil business. But my first job with an oil trading firm in St. Louis, Missouri. I was initially an exchange accountant and then moved from there into special project accounting, because that's my degree field. And then went into chartering ships. And I did that, ocean-going vessels for a period of time. And then in 1984, the company I worked for bought a refining company called Clark Refining out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And they were looking to integrate the companies a little bit more. So I took basically a lateral move and moved out to an oil refinery in the St. Louis metropolitan area. What interests me about that, one, is I could learn about the refining business, but I also didn't have to wear a tie. And I didn't have to shave every day. So that was my incentive for going out there. In that role, I went in as a maintenance scheduler, eventually becoming a maintenance foreman, which allowed me to learn, some of the intricacies in refining. And then in 87 or so, I moved into the warehouse as the warehouse foreman. And then from there, I became procurement manager. And I was in a procurement manager role for that particular refinery until I left in 1997 and took a similar role with Phillips Petroleum's refinery in Borger, Texas. Borger is in the Texas Panhandle. Spent about 4 years out there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, they say about the Texas Panhandle, it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from there.
I like that. Wow.
It's a bunch of great people, though. Really enjoyed our time there. It has a unique aspect to it, beautiful sunrises and whatnot. But again, in a procurement role there, and then also that's where I really got into strategic sourcing of refinery-related materials. In 2001, I decided, hey, it's time to kind of look for something else. We were looking to get back to where there were more trees and whatnot. And so,
simple
request.
Or a tree.
Yeah, a tree. Yeah, taller than 6 foot. So I came across this company called Washington Gas and really knew nothing about it. And so I submitted an application on monster.com.
That's how I found UPSCO.
Is that, yeah? So I got a call back from the procurement, I guess he was a director at the time. And we chatted for about 30 minutes. He said, can you come to Washington, D.C.? And I said, sure, when? He goes, tomorrow. So they got me a plane ticket, and off I went to get into D.C. So interviewed with them and really started January of 2001. Actually interviewed with them right around Thanksgiving 2000. So I made it to D.C. In 2001, just in time for all the events.
9/11, right?
Yeah. 9/11, sniper, the sniper attacks.
Wow.
The whole.
Were you like, man, hey, Texas wasn't that bad?
Yeah. So with that, so I was with them in that role. I was an area head in their procurement department, and then after a couple of years, I moved over to construction, where I was responsible for the alliance with key contractor, NPL, which is underground contractor, putting pipe in the ground. I was also responsible for the administration of all the contracts, myself and my team. I left there in the fall of 2005 and went to, at the time, McJunkin. It was responsible for supplying materials to the integrated customers of McJunkin. 2017, Goldman Sachs bought McJunkin. And later on that year, I'm sorry, 2007, they bought us and then combined us with Redman out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then we eventually became McJunkin Redman, and then finally MRC Global, because we like that global word in it.
Everything's better global.
Everything's better globally. That's
not
right.
a pandemic.
Yeah.
Wow, good one.
Yeah, that's
He's
rough.
so witty.
Yeah.
Can't teach it.
So that's so there were some other acquisitions through the years that McJunkin Redman or MRC now made to lead them to expand. I also led the Gas Council, which was a group of about 8, 9, and sometimes 10 of the bigger gas utility customers for MRC. And we met on a regular basis twice a year, and then quarterly as needed to look for opportunities to basically standardize where we could, or look within reasonable guidelines and not violating any antitrust things, sourcing opportunities.
It's also, I don't want to leave out, this is around the same time that you met Chad and I, which is clearly a career highlight for you.
Yeah.
I was hoping that you would mix that in.
That was probably the pinnacle of my career.
That's
or the downward trend.
Or that's when he decided to retire.
yeah. Leaning that way, guys.
So Mike, you were at MRC and then you came back, right, to Washington Gas. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't deal with all the energy that was there, both of you two. So
you can't run from me, Mike. You're still talking to me. You don't even work anymore.
So 2016, went back to went back to Washington Gas. And what at the time was the materials, manager materials, and basically managing the relationship with their integrated supplier, who was not MRC, it was Wolseley Industrial Group. And then in 2017, there were some circumstances that occurred within the department that required me to step in on a temporary basis into a sourcing manager role in addition to my materials manager role. That role really continued until I retired in May of 2020. So.
Wow.
Well, Mike, I just want to say, first of all, I met you, as we just alluded to, in your MRC years. So pretty cool to hear about all the other stuff. I didn't realize that you were an accountant. I had no idea about that, because every time you send us a VO, it's always messed up. So I was very concerned that maybe you chose the right career path after all, huh?
Mike,
that's why I didn't do POs.
I love you, Mikey. You know that.
That is a great. It is great to hear that whole background, because I don't think I knew most of that.
I didn't know any of it. No.
I think I knew a little, but the one thing that really resonated with me was the fact that you kind of got into all this in around 1997 with supply chain, or managing the warehouse, all that kind of stuff. You really moved in the supply chain. I've never been on that side, really. I did a little bit of procurement type stuff when I was at the coating plant, but really I've never done that much. What are some of the biggest challenges you faced, especially as you got into the bigger roles like at MRC and Washington Gas, with not even so much the integrators, but just there's so many challenges I think you faced. Maybe just give us one or two that are good examples.
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges that I had was walking that fine line between representing the company that was paying me and understanding or seeing life from the perspective of the other side, whether it was a distributor or a manufacturer or whatnot. I mean, it needs to be a win-win situation. A win-lose is not a sustainable long-term.
Sure.
So, I think that was one of the biggest challenges for me. I think in addition to that, as these companies have evolved, they've raised the bar as it relates to expectations of their suppliers or manufacturers. They keep pushing more and more and more off on companies such as yourself and whatnot. And then, oh, by the way, we want the cheapest price.
And a week before we actually asked for it.
Yeah.
Yep. And they need to be better than what we currently get.
You know what though, Mike, and I know, Joe, you have something to say, but I just have to note the fact of your answer was absolutely amazing, because I think that's why you have such a good relationship with people like Joe and myself, is because you always understood our side of the supply part. And that's
the way that
equation.
The way that I can always say that, Mike, and if I ever have to describe you to anybody and that would go to meet you or things like that, I would say Mike is fair.
That's exactly right.
And I will always say that about you. You were always fair. Things didn't work. They didn't work. And then we just had to move on and try something else. And you were always very fair and gave us that opportunity. I guess that brings me to the next question. When you were evaluating a new supplier, I guess what were the things that you looked at that were the most important? I'm just thinking, now that you're not in that role, there's other people that are still obviously in supply chain. What are they looking for, and how can we help them, with that
relationship,
that process?
Yeah.
Well, I think, I mean, besides, the obvious, quality and whatnot, and competitive pricing, fair pricing. I think in addition to that, I think, one of the frustrations that I experience is if you give me a timeline, if you give me a delivery date and you don't hit it, okay? If it slips a day or two, okay, fine. But if it slips a week or two or three, or if, and understanding that sometimes emergencies arise with other customers that may require, an interruption in the production schedule, that, if you can't hit the born or the date you say you're going to deliver, then that causes problems, okay? Especially for some integrators. Some integrators who are unfamiliar with the way the gas utility works will try to manage their inventory so close that it's almost just in time. And somewhere in between there, you got to have between time and what we used to call just in case. There's a happy medium. Okay?
Just in case.
And and we have to manage that. So I think that's one of the biggest things that's important. And I think Ted mentioned it a little bit, is the relationship. The gas utility industry, and I've experienced the refining industry. The gas utility industry is way, way, way more social than the refining industry.
Well, we're small. We're big, but we're small. I mean, and now that I'm in more of a national role, I recognize that the people that I know on the East Coast know the people on the West Coast. I mean, so as big as it is, it's still a relatively small industry.
Absolutely.
It's pretty weird.
I mean, I just think it's incredible, Mike, that I mean, for people like myself and Chad and Ted, I don't mean to exclude you in this, but you're our friend, and I will see you for my travels, and I will visit you, and we are friends, and I love that part of the job. I love the fact that we can have those situations where we have the business aspect and we have those relationships that we have to manage because of our companies, but outside of that, we enjoy each other's company, and I think that for me is one of my favorite things about this industry. And you're, knowing you is one of my favorite people. You embody that and always have, and I just really want to point that out because I appreciate that about you, and again, that dials back to your fairness and just the person that you are, and we respect the hell out of you.
Well, thank you, and likewise. I mean, I've made a lot of friends, and that's the one thing I'm going to kind of miss with retirement is all the friendships and stuff. So I look forward to continuing those in some way, shape, or form with me.
You're not getting rid of Chad and I. We're lifers, buddy. You're not going anywhere.
But that's where our word connections come from, essentially. Yep. So I think we have just two more questions left for you, Mike. I don't want to take you too long. One of them, you can answer it quickly if you want, long if you want, but in the last 20 years, probably what's the biggest thing you've seen change in this industry? You've seen it kind of you've grown through it. And so what is that, do you think?
Well, I think the biggest thing is obviously technology. Okay. You know, you're going from, you know, 20 years ago, everything was done on green paper or
Telex.
ago,
Got a telex.
you know, POs, and now it's all online. You know,
We're doing this
Yeah, we're shooting
Yeah,
a
really. Look at
television
us.
show or whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
from our homes. It's incredible. I
It's-
mean,
It is
we
incredible.
talked about it in the pre-call, but this wasn't something that we would have even considered doing 3 months ago. And I think
No,
it's
not even a
awesome, and it's
thought.
incredible that we are still able to connect and be close to everybody that's not an arm length away. You know,
Or that we could even pull this off, the three of us.
Yeah, that's the most impressive part.
Yeah. I can't speak for you, Ted, but the other two, yes, I would agree with.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, that's kind of how it works. That's why I'm
well,
quiet
this
here.
was a great interview, Mike. No.
Hey,
Joe, I know you got. Joe,
ask
I
him
know
the
you
next
got
one.
one more.
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
you
I
have
do.
one more.
Mike, you're a traveler. I know in talking with you over the years, you love to get out and see the world. Now that you are retired, what's the bucket list items? You got any places that you haven't been that you're really just excited to go to? And question B, can I come with you?
Well, I'm going to answer B. The answer to A is away from Joe and Chad.
The
That's his
answer to
bucket
B
list.
is no.
No.
So Mikey,
No.
what do you got there? What are you thinking?
Well, you know, you know, everybody obviously would like to see other parts of the world. I've been fortunate enough in some of my business travels to get over to Asia a couple times. But I think for me, you know, initially I'd like to stay in the contiguous United States. You know, there's a lot of things out west I'd like to see. That area that you guys are headquartered at is gorgeous. I've told my wife several times. I said we got to get up there, and we got to get up there.
There's always a place for you to
It's
stay.
Mike. It's really funny that you say that because I had lunch with Dan Pajak yesterday, and Dan and I live relatively close, so I'd driven over to his house, and on the way, you forget how pretty upstate New York is this time of year. We get about 6 weeks of this, but I mean, it is just an absolute incredible thing. And as far as the United States goes, there's so many beautiful spots in the U.S. that we just don't even ever think about. And as you said, our business travel affords us a lot of the opportunities to see things that we normally wouldn't. So I'm excited for you, Mike. I'm really happy. I'm happy that you agreed to come on here and talk to us.
I'm happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you.
I'm happy to meet you.
It's a good day, Mike. Then when we get to talk to you, and I got to level with you. When I got your message, it was a little sad and a little bit of bittersweet that you were leaving because you were always one of those guys that I always got a little happy that I was headed through Washington or headed through Charleston, West Virginia. And I was going to be able to get together with you. So I really want you to know that from young guys, even though we're not that young anymore, younger guys that are in the industry, you've made just an awesome impact in our lives and really set the benchmark for how we need to be as professionals.
And we appreciate you.
And we appreciate the hell out of you. We look at you as a friend. And as these guys always pick on me, when we close it out, I always say, I love you. I do. I love every one of you guys, like in so many different ways. And you guys, you know, in my 9 or 10 years have really showed me a lot and taught me a lot. And thanks for allowing us, the young guys, to come in and be part of that. We appreciate it. We hope we can carry the torch as well as you guys did. So with all that being said, buddy, this is not the last time you're going to be on this show. We will have you again. But thanks for everything. And
thank you, Mike. Thanks for what you did for the industry too.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it. It's good reconnecting.
It's awesome.
Always will be.
All about
Thanks,
it.
Mikey.
Pleasure to meet you, Mike. I'm glad for
Thanks
you
for coming
joining
on,
us.
Mike.
Have a good one.
Take care, Ted.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, Mike, thank you for joining us here. That was a really, really informative interview. Again, as Joe said in the pre-show, man, you were an open book, and we really, really appreciate that.
Lots of fun.
I was really excited. I got to, I never got to formally meet you, so it was really nice to, virtually meet you and hear from you.
Awesome.
Next, we're going into an industry update. So, Chad, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, I only have one really. It's about the SGA, Southern Gas Association. I think we talked about last week that they had a little walkthrough of their vendor exhibit, how to do it. And I just want to share that if you haven't seen that, any other vendors that need to set up a table down there, essentially they've sent out an email and gave us all the information we need to provide them to set up our virtual booth, which is going to be kind of like a LinkedIn page, it looks like. Should be pretty neat. It's different, so we'll take different anytime we can get it in this current state. So, Joe, I know you have a couple, or at least some really good, exciting news about some association stuff too.
Yeah.
Wow.
No pressure.
I don't know if
That was
it's, I know,
weird.
right?
Better be
It kinda-
exciting.
It was a huge lead in for something. I'm like, it's not that big. Drum roll, right? I don't have anything like, I just wanted to dial back real quick. I want to thank Mike. As I said prior to, like, he's been an icon for me and somebody that when I came into the industry, I really looked up to. And he's always been just a guy that I always stopped in and make sure that I stopped in to see him when I was passing through wherever he was, and I'll continue to do so. Even post his retirement. So, Mike, thank you. Thank you for all that you've done for me. Thank you for all you've done for the organization, your organizations, and the industry. We just couldn't ask for a better guest. So thank you for that.
Sure.
As far as my industry update, we're excited actually because we kind of reached out and branched out to a little bit of different ideas. We've been bringing on guests that are basically manufacturers, reps, or people that we work with and that sell product. And we thought part of the maturation of the show would be to maybe start working and talking with people in the gas industry, or gas councils, or gas associations, and help maybe drive connections through not only just us but also the things that they do, because essentially their gas association's job is to connect people. Right? I mean, that's at the end of the day what they do. So we have next week's guest, Ashley Esselman, is coming on from. She's the programs director for Midwest Energy Association. I've gotten to know Ashley a little bit over the years by going to shows, and she's always been pretty unique and interesting as far as how she tries to look at things and bring some different aspects to the show, make them more lively, change things up. And I think working with them and maybe with connections, we might be able to put some formats and things together that might be exciting. We can do actually live or just on job sites and push content in different places. So just from that angle, I don't know how much of an industry update that is. That's, I guess, more of a show update.
We're trying to evolve, though. I mean, it's part
I guess that's the great word for it, Chad, is evolve. Like, we're trying to, if we, what does this look like in another year, and how do we keep this to be sustainable? And hopefully we
relevant
can do this through,
content,
right? And hopefully we can do that through the associating ourselves, again, connecting ourselves with people that their primary job is to do that.
I think one of the most interesting parts, and we probably don't talk about it enough, and Joe and you and I have talked about it a little bit, is the background of what actually goes in for us to do this too. It takes some time. It takes some willpower, especially when you get to like that 7th, 8th episode, when we're like kind of feeling like we're gonna fizzle out a little, and you're like, we got to keep going. And so it's really fun to do. I enjoy it. It's just, we put a lot of time into it, a lot of work into what we do, finding the people, making sure that we get
I know. Can you guys believe that or not? Like, it's a lot of work.
No, I want to clarify that,
I
want to clarify, Joe and Chad do a lot more work with this. I really am kind of like Doug from The Hangover. I'm in the movie, but I'm not really in the movie.
I can cut it out. It's all right if you want me to.
So with that being said, Chad, I agree with you. I think it's really important for the show to evolve. It's really important to figure out what tomorrow looks like and how we can, honestly, from our standpoint, just again, connect more people, right? Yeah. We started off with a few subscribers, and now, I mean, what do we get a week? How many people are looking at this stuff?
Probably about 3,000, but we'd love it to be 30.
Right. So, I mean, I guess the reality of my message is, guys, we can't do it without your support and without you sharing and liking and subscribing to our things. Yeah. Your just the ability to just send it and share it on your feed, like, it brings us so much more.
It's the power of social networking. It's amazing to see. Just share, like.
Yeah, please.
It's awesome.
Well, so I guess the goal is, again, starting and working with other organizations in tandem to push that connections portion of it. And that's literally what we're trying to accomplish. And I think that's been our message from the beginning. So, but in speaking to Chad's point about the 7th episode and trying to continue through this, I just want to say that the reason that we push through, guys, is because you guys watch it and you talk to us and you give us feedback, and it fuels the fire to keep 100%. This going. And we did a really important show with Jim Shower and James Cross right about that time, where we were starting to get a little bit like antsy with this.
Yeah.
And it was and it was good content. It made us feel really motivated that they're feeling the same things that we are, and sharing the message and the process that we're going through is what we're trying to explain to you guys. So you guys can kind of get a snapshot of what we're trying to do and how we're trying to, feed the bear, so to speak. So again, thank you. We appreciate it. As these guys always pick on me. I love you guys. I love every one of you. And I appreciate all that you guys do for us. So
all of them, Joe.
Thank you.
You love all of them.
I have a little bit of love for everybody, but
Okay.
yeah, for sure, a little bit of
That's a
love.
good point. You should say
Yes,
like
I made it then. I finally got on it.
Except for Ted.
Wow.
for Ted.
Except for Ted.
Thanks. All right,
With
guys.
that
No,
being
seriously
said.
though, we're gonna wrap it. We really appreciate you guys. Click like, subscribe, and
Please
always
do.
give us a feedback. Love you.
Thanks, guys.